dog's awful.
The dog is awful. And I'm telling you right now,
I'm
right, with the little dogs, you got to get the big adult collar.
I'm gonna go to Ohio, drop this dog off so somebody eats it.
I've done that before. I've literally flown to Ohio with a dog.
What's
and said,
up?
Hey, somebody else take this dog. So today we're going to talk about.
We're gonna say hi.
We are, but we're doing a different format.
Oh, okay.
We're going to talk about the episode, and then we're going to be like, "What's up, Max Orton?"
Right, let's do it.
And then
We're changing things up.
we are. You got me off my flow because you can't just go with the flow.
No, I can't. I can't. I was just reminding you that
So-
maybe you skipped a step.
So if you can't go with the flow,
no,
just
we're
like
good. No, we're good.
let things go
Okay.
as they are. Does that mean that your sexual time is regimented? Like you have to,
What, you guys are having sex?
So anyway, this episode, obviously talking about dog collars,
Mhm.
right? And short story, I had a Labrador Retriever, and this is back when I was in the military. I was living in base housing because I was married, and this fucking dog, I couldn't get him to stop going into the garden, into like the flower garden.
Mhm.
So we got one of those in-ground, bury the wire,
I need to get one.
put one of those on, right? And as he gets close to the edge, it'll beep and vibrate. So
Oh no, hey.
beep, 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 brr, and he like the first time he had it on, he heard the beep and he's looking around like, and then he's like, "Oh, flower, that's where I'm going." Goes right into it. Feels nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe I buried the collar, or maybe I buried the cord wrong, right? So I take it, hold up, fuck, it works. It fucking works.
Yeah, they do.
But I'm surprised that your little dog can't get his ass beat by a shot collar.
No, it's because they don't have shot collars that work that well that are that small because the neck is only this big.
Yeah.
So I bought a million iterations and none of them.
You thought about just strangling them?
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've
Oh,
tried.
Pete is gonna fuck us up for this. All right. So today's episode is talking about the class that we just ran and some of the little nuances that come up when you run a class of Precision Rifle 1, right? So for everybody that's wondering, it's the very basic level class, right? And so you have to put on your kid gloves because you're dealing with people who don't know what they don't know,
Mhm.
right? Like you can't get mad at them because they don't know something, right? They're there to learn from you. So we'll talk about some of the things that took place, right? Things that, as an instructor and the different hats that I wear of how I have to change gears
Mhm.
and, just some funny stories. And then that'll be it. We'll say end, have a nice day. And
Sweet.
We'll
Huge
carry-
fan of PR1.
Yeah.
I was not there.
he wasn't there, but people were asking, like, "Where's Joe? Where's the guy on the
Just
podcast?"
taking care of kids.
Like, he didn't have short shorts today, so he couldn't come out.
Yeah, and I haven't read any comments, but apparently,
Oh, these are actually just DMs. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is up with Jeff Short
Hey, you
Shorts?
know
Like, I
what?
didn't want to see a dick today. And I'm
you
like,
know what? Nobody saw anything inappropriate other than my thighs.
does Melissa watch the episodes?
No, she did. Yeah, no, they don't.
Good thing for you.
Yeah, that's
Good
all
thing for you. So now we're gonna do the intro.
All right.
Right? Maybe, just maybe, we'll have a cool little intro video that'll slide right into this space.
Perfect.
So we'll be like, "What's up, Max Orton Nation?" And then we'll cut to the video, but we might not. I
Or
don't
maybe
know
not.
if it's ready yet.
Whatever. We'll figure out what happens.
All right. So we did PR1
Mhm.
this past weekend. So it's a basic level class where, like, on day one, it's 50% in the classroom. So we spend from 8 a.m. getting to know the guys, what rifles they have. And this weekend we had desert techs.
Mhm.
We had 2 desert techs. We had actually we had 3. One of them wasn't working so
A
well.
lot of money in guns.
It is. And then we had an AI that
Mhm.
he pulled out after his desert tech was not performing up to standard. We had a Cadex defense chassis with a Remington 700,
Love
I
it.
think, or
Love
something
that
like
chassis.
that.
It's one of my favorite chassis, but
It was good. It was good. And then
aesthetically.
a Ruger
Mhm.
RPR.
Okay.
We had a hunting rifle.
Huh?
I'm trying to think of what else there was, but there's eight guys there, 7 guys there. So, and that maxes our classes out, right? I'm not a big fan of having, a 20-person class and there's just me trying to run around
Yeah,
and
for
deal with
sure.
everybody's fucking problems. 8 people is enough by far. So all of our classes are small. So we start the day off with how you doing, what you shooting, and tell me what you know.
Hmm.
Oh, you know nothing, you know nothing, you know nothing, you know a little bit, nothing, nothing, okay, got it. So have we all fired these guns? Oh yeah. Are they all zeroed? Oh, they'll be on paper. Not when we're done with them,
Yeah,
they won't be,
exactly.
but so kick it into just fundamentals of marksmanship, right? And their eyes are just glued to the screen, like, holy fuck. And I get into the part talking about recoil management and stock placement and how important it is, and showing the different videos of where your rifle during recoil will move before the projectile comes out.
Hmm.
And then we do a little math on the board, like, okay, here's the value of a mil, right? So 1 mil at 100 yards is 3.6 inches,
Hmm.
right? So what's a tenth of, like, what's at 10 yards, how big is a mil? Think about that. You just move the
Just
decimal
move the
over.
decimal over.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
0.36,
0.36.
yeah? So now at the muzzle, we're just going to move the decimal one more.
Hmm.
So 0.036, right? So you think about that, right? Take that same math and apply it to a minute of angle, right? Now you're at 0.001
Hmm.
for a MOA
Yeah,
at the muzzle.
at the muzzle.
So if your buttstock placement is not exactly the same as the previous shot and the barrel moves that 0.001 to the right before the bullet leaves, your impact is now 1 MOA to the right.
Hmm.
And vice versa. Like now the buttstock's low and now your muzzle rises. Like you got all these different things. So we talk about, you want to be accurate, great. Then all you need to do is hit that fucking piece of paper and you can leave here happy. But if you want to be precise, these are the small details that matter, right?
And that's why I hate calling it, like, I don't call it a basic class because it's not. It's a fundamentals class.
It is. It is, right?
And
How would you describe a basic? Like if I left it as PR1, the basic class, then what should we cut out of it? Like, hey, here's how to build your
I
rifle
mean,
and
what
shoot at 100. Like how can I personally feel okay if I don't show them these things?
no, so what I'm saying is it's like a basic class would be, this is a rifle.
Yeah,
This is a scope.
but we do that.
Yes, but this is a fundamentals of marksmanship.
If this
fundamentals
yes,
class.
but if this 3 days is meant to set them on a path
Mhm.
to grow
Yes.
as a shooter when they leave,
Okay.
can we afford to leave those little details out?
No, they have to stay.
They have to
That's
stay.
what I'm saying. You can't.
So you just don't like the name.
I don't like basic. And
Oh.
okay,
But I don't
so
call it basic.
so
It's PR1.
yeah, I know. So I talked to over the weekend. I think I talked to my buddy Paul, and he put up a Instagram post. It was something along the lines of why people get asked, like, why him or one of his buddies don't offer like a level 2 class,
Okay.
right? When's the advanced class? And he kind of went down a little thing of like, just take level 1 again.
Okay, that's
And,
fair.
and I talked to him about, like, look, I said, we were talking about like some of the best shooters that I know don't take PR1, PR2, PR3. They take PR1, they practice a lot, and then they probably take another PR1 somewhere else. And they take PR1 over and over again to hammer those fundamentals in. And that's what makes you at your core, gives you your foundation. Because a lot of guys, like, they'll take PR1, 2, and 3, like, oh, I'm a great shooter. No, you haven't learned what's in PR1 yet.
Oh, I mean, I've definitely had a student that said, Tyler, I've taken every course. What's the next step for me?
Take PR1 again.
Go back.
100%.
Work backwards now.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree with you. And I don't, which Paul are we talking about?
Paul Van Dunn.
Okay. So, I'm not in that pistol world, although I feel like I should be,
But so I think specifically we're talking like it's a carbine class, but
even carbine.
but yes,
Like I don't embrace those. I know how to shoot them
Mhm.
and I know how to work them and I know how to fucking survive and fight, right? And I'll put up a good effort, but that's not my area. So I don't play in those areas, right? I don't even begin to think about like, we should have basic advance of this, of carbine shooting.
yeah,
But for precision rifle, I can only fit so much shit into 3 days before
Yeah.
the class is just crap.
for sure.
So if I don't have a level 2, then when do they learn how to apply all those fundamentals up off the ground?
Of course. And I
Right?
guess more my I guess not my argument, but I guess what I'm saying is like level one, I don't think we should consider PR1 a basic class. I think fundamentals is a more appropriate term. That's all. It's
True.
the-
But now as business owners, we go and we say, well, if we call it the fundamentals class, marketing wise, how appealing will
Yeah.
it look? Oh, nobody's signing up for the fundamentals class.
fair.
Fundamentals are not cool,
Yeah.
bro.
But this is the podcast. This isn't the marketing. This is
Fundamentals are not
real
cool.
talk of I think the fundamental like that class gives you your core fundamentals, period.
100%.
And I don't care if you're a new shooter or you're an experienced shooter,
Yeah,
you still need PR1.
absolutely.
Is what I'm saying.
100%. So we cover the fundamentals and then we go into a deep dive on optics, right? And again, like it's not just let me teach you what you need to just get a shot off,
Mhm.
but let me run you through parts of the rabbit hole so you have an understanding. So if you want to go buy another scope, you're walking in with a little bit more education, right? And you can understand some of these little nuances like, oh, do I want first focal point, second focal point? What kind of reticle do I want, right? Don't be afraid of these busy reticles. You'll get used to them. And then, any math associated with it. And, one of the guys was like, we're in class. And he's like, are we going to learn how to range targets? I'm like, yeah, I'll show you how to push the button on a rangefinder for sure.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, we're not going to learn the formula. I was like, I'm not here to teach you a formula. I'm here to teach you how to shoot.
Mhm.
Right. And I don't need to put you down on a firing line and have you measure a target and be wrong and miss and like go through that process. It's going to be hard enough to hit the fucking
Mhm.
targets. Okay. They're not big. They're small. They're smaller than anything you've ever shot. I promise. And he's like, I fucking love that. I'm like, yeah, I love it too, right? We have all this technology available to us. So plan A, rangefinder. Plan B, phone, Google Earth, right?
Plan X, know the size of a stop sign on a city street.
There you go. Like there's so many more fucking steps to go before we say,
Yeah.
let's mill that target.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're not shooting from behind a window or a glass where our fucking
And I get that all the
rangefinder
time.
will
Like, hey, so like if you're out in the field though, like, are you taking time to like, shouldn't you just know like based on how big it is, how far away it is? I'm like, no.
work. I've heard that too. I'm like, hey, when a guy's calling a correction for you and he says he says you
1994.
missed by 15 inches, are you sure he knows what 15 inches is?
Yeah.
I mean, at 500 yards, how big's a ruler look?
Yeah, and I
like,
remember my first post, like my sniper one or whatever, was like we must have spent half a day on here's the average human head.
yeah,
Here's a stop sign.
yeah,
Here's the average wheels size of wheels and tires in a car. I'm like,
yeah.
I have a rangefinder.
And you know what? For speed
Yeah.
and rapid engagements, I don't mind going over some of the 12-inch stuff
Mhm.
where you're using a person's anatomy to
Yeah.
say, oh, this is this boom,
Yeah.
right? But like sitting there and saying,
That's so far past
get out your
PR1.
pencil and let's do the math. Like, no, I'm just not, it's not part of the class, right? You want to learn how to range, go to one of these other schools that's run by a military dude who hasn't given it up yet.
And then go sit on the side of a hill,
Yeah.
open up your range card and draw the pictures
absolutely,
for
right?
hours and
I mean,
hours.
I'm to the point now where they're like, should we build a range card? I'm like, pull out your phone, take a photo. There's your range card.
Exactly.
Just technology is too ingrained
Yeah.
in our society today to not put these into utilization, right? So talk about scopes in the class and we go through all of this shit. Obviously, there's a ton of questions and like I'm not one of those guys, and you've been in the class, right? Even though it's been a while since you've been there, right? I'm not one of those guys who's like, this is the way that it is, right? I have 100% embraced
Mhm.
it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So let's prove it,
Yep.
right? And we'll do it right there in front of everybody. And then, hey, before we take lunch, we're going to go outside and we're going to take your scope off of your rifle. We're going to lay you down in the dirt. You're going to get into the fucking, I'm 10 years old watching the TV, and we're going to set your bipod height. We're going to set your length of pull. We're going to get everything on the rifle set. And then I'm going to put your scope back on for you. And they're like, but it's zero. I'm like, I don't fucking care. You got to take the scope off. You got to build the rifle to fit
Mhm.
you, right? And, you know, right off the bat, dude, got guys setting their shit, get their length to pull, they set down, and I can instantly see butt stocks dropping down onto the chest. I'm like, motherfuckers.
I
you
do
know?
find it hilarious that people get really bummed out. They show up with a zeroed rifle
Yeah.
and they get so sad that
That
I'm gonna
they're
pull your
bu-
optic off. But I
So,
just zeroed it.
dude, they behind the rifles. I haven't even put the scope on homeboy shit yet, and I see the butt stock dropping on down onto the chest. I'm like, all right, hold up, time out. Let me go grab something out of the classroom. Go in, get some tape. I'm like, give me a cartridge. And again, dealing with new shooters, right? Dude hands me a magazine. I'm like, that's a magazine, not a cartridge. Cartridge is case, bullet, primer, powder.
I need one.
I need one of those. He's like, oh, bullet. I'm like, yes, right. In your terms, it's a bullet. So give me one of those. So I tape it to the back of his buttstock. He's like, what are you doing? I was like, now if you let that buttstock drop onto your collarbone and down onto your chest, that bullet's going to stab you in the fucking neck and you're going to be hurting. He's like, so that's to keep my buttstock up. I'm like, yes. And you need that because you can't listen. And he's like, that's fair. And,
Fair enough.
you know, so I talked to these guys and like all throughout the class, I'm like, hey, timeout, dog.
Yeah.
So
I'm back in.
So time back in all throughout the class, I have different references, try to get them to like get into the mindset. Like, hey, everything you do needs to be habitual. So it's important that we're always practicing the right thing. I'm like, how long you been driving? Do you look at where your feet are or you just fucking know which one to hit? Right. And you know, so I told them flat out, I'm like, when we do the natural point of aim drill, like you guys are gonna rush. You're going to not take your time. You're going to try and get through it as quick as you can. It's going to be ridiculous. You're going to shoot like crap. I like, but if you're a woman, you would listen to every fucking detail that I said. And it would take you 30 minutes to shoot 3 rounds, but they'd be the best 3 rounds you've ever shot, right? And they all giggle and laugh. And I'm like, it's fucking true.
It's fucking true.
It's fucking true. Okay. So little stuff like that, like, hey, I'm going to tape this to your rifle and it's going to be an indicator if it starts stabbing you that you're allowing the buttstock to slide out of its position, right? So we do that, build their rifles, and they're like, man, Tyler, this is just, it's all foreign to me, you know, like it doesn't feel comfortable. I was like, you're a brand new shooter.
Yeah.
You know what the fuck comfortable is? I'm like, I mean, yeah, you could get behind a rifle and this feels okay. I was like, but when it comes time to shoot and you can't stay on target or you can't shoot a tiny ass little group, what good is comfortable, right? So you deal with this and, you know, it's a constant, always got to remind them, right? And I don't want to be mean to them, but at the same time, I have to be that force that corrects them every chance
Yeah.
that they mess up. So it could seem like I'm being a cock, but I'm really just looking out for them.
Yeah, for sure.
So then head out to the 100-yard line, take lunch, head out to the 100-yard line, get set up. And I'm like, okay, you know, we moved people's scopes, we took your shit off. You're not going to be zeroed, but you'll still be on paper if you showed up here with a 0. So who showed up without a 0? One guy's like, I don't have a fucking 0. All right, cool. So I get down, bore sight it. He's like, and you're just zeroing the rifle by looking through the barrel. I'm like, yeah, let me set it up and I'll show you what you're looking for. And so I get it all set up. I'm looking through the barrel, looking through the scope. Good. Make some adjustments. I'm like, all right, it's fucking solid. And then he gets down and he looks and he goes to reach up to make an adjustment.
Just smack his hand.
Smack him. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, it doesn't look onto me. I'm like, you don't fuck with my shit. Okay. I was like, you know what? Go ahead, try it, do it. So he does it. Fucking nowhere on the paper. He's like, I don't know where it's hitting. I was like, I told you not to fuck with it, right? You got to look straight down the barrel and you're seeing 3 circles, right? You see the chamber, you see the barrel, and then you see the end of the barrel. You got to look even.
It's all got
all
to be even. Yeah.
And then you look through the scope. I was like, but it's so critical how even you have to be. He's like, okay. So little stuff like that, you know, and then I got, you know, hey guys, while we're shooting, don't come off the rifle. We're zeroing. Bam. Shoots. And their instructions were this: shoot 1 shot at this diamond. and then shoot 2 shots at this diamond, right? So bam, guy shoots, lifts his head,
Gets out the
cycles,
rifle.
shoots one over here and says, yeah, Tyler, they are really different. My first shot, my cold bore is different than my second shot. I'm like, why are you looking at me right now? Why aren't you still on the gun? You haven't fired your second shot. And you broke your position between the first and second. So we can't even trust what you've done so far. Get back on the gun. And he's like, oh, my bad. Like shoots, right? And then makes his adjustments. And this is everybody.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Everybody.
It always
Like,
is.
like, did you see that center shot? Looks at his buddy. Shoot the second one, motherfucker, and then brag, right? Anybody could do it once, do it twice, right? So like, it's a good, I guess like not back and forth. It's like it's a healthy, fun, like I'm gonna correct you, but I'm not gonna make you feel like
Yeah, no,
I hate you
for
while
sure.
doing it.
Yeah.
So it's a good little banter. I've also gotten into this like, man, I don't know what else to call it, like making fun or
Talking
jokes.
shit.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like definitely talk shit talking, right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
on the second day, that's when we finally get to the long range pad and we'll shoot distance. So we shoot 200 and, um, I didn't spray paint any of the targets because I'm trying to get them to focus on how the target moves.
Yeah.
Right.
At least you found the target.
It swung right, it swung left, yada yada yada. So Jerry, he shoots a 200 and it's a decent sized target. Like I told him, this is your feel good target. There's no other targets out there that are going to be that big. And so shoots it. All right, cool. Shoot the smaller one. All right, cool. And then we get out to 400 and I didn't put the 300 up. We go 200, 400. Jerry shoots and it's like 2 mils low. I'm like, Jerry, you didn't dial. He's like, huh? I'm like, you were just looking at your ballistic calculator and you didn't dial what you were looking at. It's that shooter's process that we're talking about, right? The pre-fire checklist. It should always be the same. I know the target. What's my dope? Put it on the scope, build my position, find the target, look through the scope, build my position, check my natural point of aim, make a wind call, take a shot, right? I was like, remember that? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, right? And so for the remaining day and a half, anytime I get to like jab him a little bit about that not dialing, right? Because I feel like it's a constant, like fun corrective
Yeah,
measure.
but he's not going to ever forget to dial.
Exactly,
At
right?
least
I didn't make him
for a
feel like
while.
an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I'm reminding him that he made a mistake and I'm not going to let him live it down for a while.
Yeah.
So he's always thinking about like, fuck, I don't want to get bantered anymore, So it's a good time. Other things that we run into, the natural point of aim drill, when I tell them, hey, and we ran it every day, like no matter what, it's always go back to these fundamental drills. So we run the natural point of aim drill. And by the third day, man, it was awesome. Everybody just tight little natural point of aim groups.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite drills.
There's
It really is.
right. And when I first told them, we're going to shoot with our eyes closed. So you're going to build your position, you're going to aim at the target, settle down, breathe, you're on target, close your eyes, breathe, exhale, open. Are you still there? Fix it until you're still there. Always fix it until you're still there. And then close your eyes, breathe, and it's all about feel, right? Take the shot, right? It's going to feel weird to shoot with your eyes closed. Just take the fucking shot. And sure enough, dude, like by day 3, everybody's natural point of aim drills were inside the triangle.
Nice.
1 MOA or less. Like it was great. It was a good time. One of the other issues that when we're discussing rifles, I talk about the barrel. I'm like, here's my barrel, right? Which is larger and thicker than any one of your guys' vehicle's axles. I promise you. It's 1.5 inches, no taper.
Just straight truck axle.
It's a truck axle.
Yep.
I'm like, why do I have that? Well, because I want to be capable of high volume of fire without loss of precision. I'm like, hunting rifle, you got problems, especially, 4 or 5 rounds. You might get lucky that 5th round is still in there. After that, you're screwed, buddy. Like You got to let it cool down or you got to piss on it. One of the two. RPR, maybe get 10, right? Desert Tech, not bad, but they're running those little 16-inch shorty barrels.
They're shorties.
I'm like, I think you'll be okay for 10 to 12. Could be 15. I don't really know, right? But that's where this practice comes in. We start to see if the group opens up and it's not you, we got barrel hot problems. So give him all this information, and he's still got like one or two guys who, after I tell him it shouldn't take more than 10 rounds to zero your gun, shoot one, shoot two, measure, adjust, shoot two, measure, adjust, shoot two, measure. That's 7 rounds. That's not 10, right? 20 fucking rounds later,
Yeah.
the hunting rifle guy is like, I had it and now it's off. I'm like, dude,
Your fucking barrel's hot.
it's only 5 fucking rounds. I don't know how else to say it to you,
Yeah.
right? Except for give me your ammo and you can come ask me for 5 rounds every time you want to shoot, like, or I could just let you sit there and chase this fucking zero all around, right? But you're getting frustrated. You're coming to me for the answer. I give you the answer and you don't believe me, right? And we also, the same shooter, he has this Seiko hunting rifle and it uses the dovetail connection, not Picatinny rail,
Mhm.
the dovetail little
Yes.
spots on top. So he's got these scope rings that bolt at the top and he's running a Collis. He's like, I just bought this scope. I'm so excited. I'm like, cool, dude. And so like he zeroes. We finally get him zeroed and everything is good. And he goes to dial all the way up and he can't go past like 7.8 mils.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Because when I first looked at his scope, right, when he first floated his turrets, I'm like, your dick is sticking out. He's like, what? I'm like, on your scope, dude, your indicator that you're 1 revolution up, your dick is sticking out. He's like, oh, how do I put my dick away? Like, okay. Well,
Different rings.
did you float the turret? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, we need to loosen the turret and spin it down
Yeah.
and then set it on the right zero. He's like, okay, so we lock it down. Now he can't go up above 7.7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. I'm like, maybe it's broken. I don't know. I'm not gonna force it. Call the manufacturer, send it back to him, tell him something's wrong. Right. So the next day he's like, I talked to the manufacturer. They told me what to do. It's fixed now. Okay, cool. Can you help me zero when we go to the zero line? Yeah, I got you, buddy. Look down, we bore sight it. He's 13 mils high. So we gotta fucking basically dial up 13 mils to bring the reticle down. And now he's right back to where he was yesterday. I'm like, they didn't fix shit.
No.
It's still fucked up. When we float these turrets, you're still gonna be at the same spot. You're only gonna have 7 something. He's like, so what do I do? Should I just call it for today? I'm like, no, fucking shoot.
We can figure it out.
We'll be fine. Shoot as far as you're gonna let you shoot, right? And then we can do holdovers. He's like, oh, I don't want to do holdovers. I'm like, okay, fine. Then we'll just dial out to 7.7 and then
Hold the
that'll
rest
be
or just be done.
that'll be the most for you. And he's like, okay. And so we get up on the firing line, and I think for his rifle, the targets were just too small.
Yeah.
And he's not shooting well, trying to help him. But the best we're getting is about 1 MOA. And all weekend, dude, we're dealing with 35, 40 mile an hour winds. I mean, it was just kicking. And the guys were like, is this normal? I was like, yeah, it's pretty normal.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Like, is that why you're so good? I was like, I don't think so, but maybe. So he's just not hitting anything, right? He hit his first target. It was 500. That's the only one he hit.
Oh, that's so tough. That's
Couldn't
such
hit
just a
anything else, right?
demoralizing
And
day.
he's like, can I go zero again? I'm like, yeah, take your rifle back to the 100-yard line and go zero if that's what you feel is wrong. So he goes down there. I finish up with these guys. We try to stretch it out to 1,000. We got 1 hit on 1,000. Everybody's shooting 308 except for 2 guys. They're shooting 6.5.
Okay.
And the 308 guys, they're all shooting 168 grains zero.
68 SMKs. That's what
I'm
everybody wants.
I'm sorry that you've purchased this ammo, but you are not going to survive the transonic range like we talked about in class. And so 800 is going to be about your max. I'm like, but we'll take the 6.5 guys out to 1,000. And so, yeah, like 5 mils later, dude, you know, actually 2 of those guys were shooting minutes. So I think we're like 18 or 19
Oh,
minutes,
yeah.
dude. Right. Finally get them on target and finish up. Hey, we're gonna walk up the mountain. We're gonna shoot some of the field course stuff. So I walk over to the zero range. Homeboy's there with his hunting rifle, and he's like, "I bore sighted it. Can you help me get on the steel plate because I can't get on paper?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I watch, and I didn't take a spotting scope or anything. I'm like, "Low right." I'm like, shoot again. Ding. Okay, go back to paper. So he goes to paper, zeros. Hey, we're good. He floats his turrets. He's like, I think I'm just going to call it for today because I can't dial past 7.7. My scope is still broken. And I'm looking now.
I just don't think it's this.
Now I'm actually paying attention and I'm like, okay, dude, your dovetail has no angle to it whatsoever. It's not, it doesn't have a bias. He's like, what's a bias? I was like, where the rail points down
Mhm.
naturally to save travel in your scope. You don't have that. So it makes complete sense now why you have this problem. I was like, and I didn't think about it earlier. I just wanted you to get zeroed and let's work on the fundamentals. Now I put some thought into it and this is the problem. He's like, no, I think it's the scope. I'm like, how are you going to tell me what the fuck you think it is? And he's
Most
like,
guys will take a dovetail they'll buy a dovetail to Picatinny adapter,
yeah.
and then you can run a ring base that's got some like 20-minute base or
So
something.
it's a Seiko. You can just buy a pick rail for
Yeah,
that bitch,
100%.
right? And so, because his dovetail is also a bolt on.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because it's got the little knurling on top so
Yeah.
that the bolt on will lock in place. And I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, your scope is not broken. You have used up your travel. Let's talk about it really quick.
Mhm.
You have 20 mils from top to bottom. You dial all the way up and count all the way down. You have 20 mils, right? Let's say that's the thing. He's like, okay. I was like, with a flat rail, not pointed down, you're going to use 60% of that travel to bring the scope aim down to the barrel.
Mhm.
I was like, so that's your problem right now. That is the issue. He's like, I think the scope's broke. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking tell you again. Okay. I'm telling you it's not the scope. Here, you know what? I will find the correct piece for you and I will show you what to buy. All right. You have my word. I will get on Google and I will find the adapter or the piece for you and you buy that and we'll fix all your problems. He's like, okay, you promise? I was like, I fucking promise, dude. Fucking promise. Now, can we go shoot? Right? You still have 7.7 mils that we can use to shoot these
I
targets.
remember showing up to a class and I just put glass on. I forget what it was, but I just put glass on. Maybe it was my 223. What
Yeah.
was in my hunting rifles?
Okay.
And I had a 20-minute base
Okay.
and I had 20-minute rings.
Fuck.
And luckily,
So did you have to zero at 3?
no, I zeroed at 100
Oh,
yards.
okay. Okay.
I had a half a mil left before I would have not been able to zero.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
If your scope height was any higher,
It would
you'd
have
have been
worked.
screwed.
I know.
Oh yeah, dude.
No, it was perfect.
I've run into that before where you had a total of 40 MOA.
Oh yeah, no, I could go as far. I could go out really far without anything
And like
else.
the student couldn't get hits on 100. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, you can't go down anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like, 20.
Oh, that's a lot.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to zero at 300.
Mhm.
Like that's basically what's gonna have to happen. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to zero at 300. He's like, that'll fix it. I was like,
It's not
that's
fixing
that's
it.
the only thing we can do is we could probably zero at 200. All right, but 300 is at good max point
Math
blank.
constraints,
You know,
yeah.
we can fucking do that. And he's like, okay. So here we are trying to zero at 300.
Yeah.
You know, like it's painful.
But these are the things that you learn in
It is.
PR1.
It is. Unfortunately, a lot of the times,
This isn't uncommon. This isn't like, oh, one guy showed up with something.
no,
Like
a lot of the times
this happens
though,
all the time.
some people will call or email and say, I don't have anything. Great.
Perfect.
Fucking, you can either go buy what I tell you, or you can just use our shit,
Mhm.
learn what you need, and then go buy your own, right? A lot of dudes will buy that stuff
Yep.
or go to the gun store, say, I'm going to take this class. I need a rifle with a scope. And the gun store's like, you need
Oh,
this,
you
this,
need this. Bam. Yeah.
right? And then they show up. I'm like, your shit blows.
No, I got too many buddies that have bought guns from a gun store because they were gonna didn't want to listen to me, and they found a really good deal on a $1,500 Savage with a US Optics piece of glass on it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a reason.
So I'm trying to think of her name right now. Nikki. She's the nurse on Instagram. Nikki, I don't remember fucking screen name, right? She shoots.
You know the scope ring issue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that scope ring
Yep.
issue? So, and I don't even know where she lives. I'm assuming somewhere down in Southern California. She went to a Turner's
Hmm.
and she bought an RPR. She wants to learn long range precision, and she goes to the gun store, says, "This is my rifle. I need a scope." And they're like, "Oh, we got you. Check out this SIG scope." All right, cool. Can you mount it for me? So they put it all together for her. She shows up out at the range. We're going through the rifle setup, and I'm like, "So here's the deal. We'll shorten this as far as we can because you got a short length of pull, and we're gonna move the scope." So we like move the scope, and I'm like, "Fuck, son of a bitch."
It's not
And
making
she's
sense.
like, "What?" I was like, "Your rings are not tall enough, and so therefore we can't mount the scope." She's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "They only attached the back ring to the rail. Your objective is hitting the rail, so they didn't bolt the front ring down, and then they just said, 'Have a nice day,
Yeah.
dumbass.'" And she's like, "Why would they do that?" I'm like, "Because they don't know, right? It's your minimum wage guy working behind that
Mhm.
counter." So had to like shit some 34 millimeter rings.
I was
for
gonna say,
her.
so here we are cutting up a beer can to shim it up. Not that I've never done that.
Oh, dude. And so like those are the problems.
Yeah.
Right. Those are problems. So don't trust the fucking gun stores for sure. Right. It's better when you have knowledge and you can go in, and if they can provide you some type of extra knowledge, great.
Yeah, for sure.
But don't be reliant on them because they're gonna have their own bias towards shit. And then on the same time, they might just not know. So PR1 was good. Good class.
Something we didn't cover, and I wanted to ask: Are you are we still truing them at like 800 yards? Like we didn't talk about truing the rifles.
we talked about it in class, right? And essentially kind of gotten away from that just because in the high wind environment,
Yeah, it's tough for sure.
it's so fucking hard to do any of that, right? So now what we do is kind of like a combination of truing, chronograph, and data collection,
Okay.
right? And so before they leave the 100-yard line on day one, I'll set my little Garmin down and record everybody's 3 to 5 round fucking chronograph shots.
Perfect.
Hey, this is your muzzle velocity. Hey, this is your muzzle velocity. And then when we talk about external ballistics, like, look, your barrel can deform that projectile and it can make it better or it can make it worse, right? So your BC from the manufacturer may not be the same. I'm like, but now the benefits of truing is that your scope might not track 100% perfectly. It could have a 1 or 2% error. So by truing, you're averaging all your problems.
Yep.
By changing your BC, you're just fixing one problem, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot distance. We're going to start at 200. You're going to plug all the shit into your ballistic calculator, and we're going to shoot with just data from the calculator and the chronograph. And we're going to record those. We're going to go all the way out to 800. And then if there's an adjustment to be made, and if there was consistency throughout all the distances,
Yep.
then we're going to make the changes that are appropriate. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And we did. We didn't have to really true a lot of people because that wind is coming left to right. Everybody just started shooting low,
Yeah.
right? And you're getting that crosswind jump, that push down. So there wasn't a lot of people that were in trouble in terms of velocity. It was all pretty much close. But when we started to run into mistakes where they're shooting low, it's because they're doing the math formula in their head, or they're using the calculator to see like what a 30-mile-an-hour wind correction would be, but they're not actually telling the calculator where the wind's coming from.
Yeah.
So it's not helping them determine
which
what that
is
crosswind deviation is going to be.
yeah.
And I'm like, you got to look at this deviation and say, okay, every 7 miles an hour is a 1/10 of a mil drop for left to right, or a climb for right to left. So how many miles an hour we got? Oh, we got 30. Well, that's 7 into 30 is 4. So you're going to add or subtract 0.4 from every one of these dopes starting at this distance, right? And again, new shooters, they've already got so much to think
For
about.
sure. Yeah.
So it's like when they're like, "Oh, my calculator's not giving me the right dope." I'm like, there's so much more going on right now than you are comprehending.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm telling you, the calculator's working. Let's work through the problem. Point your phone over here. If you're using the phone for wind, fine, right? I know that the math can be complicated, which is why I've kind of allowed for the calculator to be used, right? These guys aren't showing up because they want to go fight the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly.
They want to be better shooters. They want to learn how to use their rifle. They want to be better hunters, right? So we use the gear that they got, and that's important to me. So, yeah, to answer your question without the long drawn out shit, chronograph, truing, data collection, see what consistency we have, and then nail it down.
Nice.
So it's a good time. I on day 3, like the night of every day, we end with, hey, it's a debrief. Here's what I saw. You suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. All right. I like this, I like that. You guys are all having this tendency. And overall, I'm proud of all of you, right? Definite improvement from day 1. Tomorrow, we're going to do this. Debrief time for you. Tell me something good, something bad, something you're going to work on. And go around the table. And so I was like, all right, we might shoot the mile tomorrow. We'll see. If we don't shoot the mile, we're going to hoof it up the mountain, and we're going to shoot prone from some natural terrain. It's going to be a little more challenging because you'll be finding yourself in spots that you aren't comfortable in.
Yeah.
And targets are smaller. They're, random distances, and now you got to actually find them. It's going to be a good time. 40-mile-an-hour winds is not
No,
the time to shoot
it's
a
not.
mile. So we opted to not go with that one. And it was a good call. Shot up the mountain, shot the field course, and we got a couple big target hits. And nobody ever listens, dude. Nobody, because they're just so wrapped up in the moment. I'm like, look, every position, right? Every target out there has got a big target and a small target. You're going to send one at the big one. If you hit it, you're going to correct your wind call, shoot the little one.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss the big one, you're going to correct your wind call,
Hit
shoot the big one.
again.
It's 2 shots. That's all you get. Gets up there, right? I'm like, all right, buddy, hit it. And this is like 300 yards away. It's not far. It's not one of the far ones. Big ass 12-inch square. Wind feels like it's coming straight at us. I'm looking around. I'm like, if it was me, I'd probably hold center or favor left, but I don't feel like there's enough wind to push him off the target. Well, there was, right? So he took a shot, missed off the right side. He must have been holding center. And cycles. I'm like, well, make a correction. Shoots, hits it. I'm like, all right, cool. Racks it, shoots for the little one, misses, racks it, shoots for the little one. I was like, that's 4. Racks it, shoots for the little one, and like doesn't get the hit. I'm like, that's 5. We're 3 past what we're supposed to do. He's like, oh, only 2. I was like, the fuck did I just say down there? Did anybody listen? He's like, I did hear that.
I think I
But I
remember
was just
something
so
along those
focused
lines.
on hitting that small target. I was like, you got sucked in. He's like, yeah. I was like, all right,
It happens.
guess all rules are out the window, So like we went all the way out to 8:15 and just random targets spread out over those 4 valleys. And it was a good time, man.
Nice.
So, I had to be honest with him. I'm like, look, PR1's definitely not my favorite course to teach. I enjoy that you guys are having all of these light bulb moments, right? But me personally, I'd rather be up there on top of that mountain shooting down. And they're like, tell us about that course. I'm like, well, 25% of you would not survive it.
Exactly.
I'm like, but it's a good time. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna shoot the field course in the morning. We go up and do high angle in the afternoon. We got 4 positions up there, and I'll paint. There's probably 40 something targets out there, and I'll paint a group pink. I'll paint a group orange. Spread them out across this big field of view. Right, all these different colors. So when we get to the first position, I'll be like, hey, you're gonna shoot blue. You're only looking for blue targets. So now you got to find blue, range it, build your position, shoot. Like, it's field shooting. It's fun, like you could spend 2 hours in one position and not be done, it's fun.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's why it's my favorite.
When I go, that's where I go. I love just shooting the field course, go out there and just painting targets, and
Yeah.
I can spend all day on the side of that mountain.
Yeah. And like I was driving through the long range area and got out and I was actually taking targets down. The course was over. Just kind of look around, dude. There's no cities, there's no people,
Nice.
no street lights. Just
Nice.
like, damn, do I really want to go home tonight? I don't know if I want to go home tonight. I should just stay. But I ended up coming back, but it just gets too nice out there, dude.
Yeah, it does.
So
Well, I'm glad PR1 was a success and we had a lot of people out there.
yeah, it was a good time.
Could have been really hot had it been last week.
So it would have been.
It would have been.
It would have
I don't
destroyed
know.
us.
I don't know if it would have been able to be put on in the heat that we had.
No, definitely not. It was 85 degrees Saturday and Sunday,
I bet it was 115 out there the weekend before.
probably.
Seriously.
And then Monday, it just took a nosedive.
Yeah.
Or so, yeah, Monday. It was 68 degrees. I was like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
No, it-
It was freezing. Plus the 40-mile-an-hour winds. Like it was such a drastic change. Law enforcement course coming up next week. And it's not going to be 100 out there, but temperatures are spiking back up to 90, so it'll be a super fun
It'll be
time.
warm.
Super fun time. So law enforcement guys, we'll have to talk about that course because they go through a whole bunch more,
Yeah.
right? It's 5 days instead of 3.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like the military guys. When I train the Marines, like I know what's at stake, right? What's at stake is that these guys are going to take this training and they're going to be told to go out, kill somebody and not die,
Mhm.
right? Do your job or your buddy dies, right? So there's
More to it. There's more at stake.
there's definitely more at stake,
100%.
right? So you got to be hard as fuck on these guys and you can't take anything easy on them. And when they think they've succeeded, fuck no. Now bring your ass back here and let's make it harder, right? It's always how hard can I make it on you because combat's not going to be easy. And so with the cops, it's kind of like the same thing. Like you can't treat them the same as the civilians because they need to have that pressure,
Mhm.
right? One day you might have to shoot a motherfucker in the face and you need to be on your game. I need to make you run. I mean, make you do this. Like, I'm going to make you think about all this random shit and you're still going to be expected to perform.
Mhm.
Right. And it's kind of the same thing. You may not die or your buddy may not die if you don't do your job, but somebody could,
Somebody
die,
might. Yeah.
and, it's important when you think about a professional being trained that you set a standard and you do not waver from that, right? And you always push them harder and harder and harder. I remember at one time, like, I think we were doing a June advanced sniper, and the guys were like, it's fucking hot out here. I was like, it's gonna be the same fucking temperature on that roof that you're gonna sit on for 12 fucking hours. So
Mhm.
shut up, like just embrace it, man. Just embrace it because your life will get worse.
And they still get the portions of PR1 that matter.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
but yeah, man, good time. Happy to continue to push that knowledge out.
Nice.
So it's a good time. But other than that, I ain't got nothing, man. That was kind of the PR1 course. Everybody got a t-shirt, everybody got their stickers, and now they're all repping their Max Ordnance
Right on.
shit. So met some interesting dudes though. Like I told you Monday it was cold, right? So I'm standing there and I got my Max Ord baseball jersey on. I'm like,
Mhm.
fuck, it's cold out here.
A little chilly.
And I was talking to Nick. He came out to Zero's Gun to get a little practice in. One of the dudes, he's like, I don't know if you know what we do or what I do. I own a weed business. I was like,
Nice.
that's cool. I was like, I've never done any weed before. And he's like, oh, we mainly do edibles. I was like, never done that either. He's like, helps you sleep good. I was like, might consider it. So
I'll think about it.
But he hands me this hoodie. He's like, this is our logo. And I'm like, I'll fucking wear your shit because I'm cold as shit right now. So he gave me this hoodie that's got like their edible weed logo
Nice.
on it, dude. So
Edible Eddie on
yeah,
it, little
I'm
guy.
fucking repping
Little
their shit
brownie
right
guy.
now. So they're in Vegas. Man, I wish I could remember the name of their company, but we'll discuss it on another podcast
Yeah.
and talk about weed and shit. But anyways, final thing, headed back to Vegas tomorrow,
Okay.
and there's this company called Laser Hit.
Okay.
And they hit me up, said we have this new long range system. We respect you in the industry, and we feel you're the right person. Can you come visit us, see this product, and let's see if we can work together. So tomorrow could be very interesting, man. I
Yeah.
tried to look at their website. I don't have a lot of information on it, but It looks like it's a dry fire tool, kind of like for your pistol, right?
Okay.
But now it's for your rifle, and it can tell you down to the quarter minute how precise your dry firing is.
So is it using a projector system or
I
is it
don't
is it a
know.
standalone?
I know nothing.
All right, let's,
I know
let's go check it
nothing.
out.
Their website showed a laser on a piece of paper.
All right.
So it could be a projector, or it
Be nice.
could be just, hey, put this paper on your garage and shoot, right? And dry fire. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm interested.
I mean, see what's up.
All right.
Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Appreciate you guys listening, hanging out, talking. I have no idea how long this podcast is. We never do. Today was unscripted, unfiltered. We just bullshit. And we hope you guys are taking something away from it. If you can relate to any of the stuff the PR1 guys go through, like I feel your pain, right? Always trying to like bring it down to the lowest level. So again, if you got something that you want to hear, a specific topic that we can talk about or discuss or release some video about, we're happy to do it. Check out our Patreon account, patreon.com/MaxLornet1. You can go on there, see a lot of tutorial videos. We're now starting to add more, not just with myself, but with Jeff and some of the stuff that he's been doing out at the range. And it's a little more hunting oriented. And he just gets down into the nitty gritty of dealing with common issues that everybody deals with. So I didn't get to tell you, I really liked your videos.
Thank you.
Yeah, they were
Thank
good,
you.
man. I was like, actually finding myself watching a video,
Appreciate
which I
that.
kind of just ignore everybody's videos. So I was like, damn, that shit looks good. It's fucking good. So anyways, we'll catch you guys later.
We'll see it.